Just sitting here doing a weekly one-on-one with Katie. I never actually asked
hmm
you, and you could be honest. How do you like the weekly one-on-ones? You can say it sucks to you. Doesn't matter.
I don't think they suck. So usually they're not like long, but I think it helps to update you on like what's going on because you'll send a lot of text messages asking
Yeah,
lots of questions.
it's reducing the text,
Yeah,
which is good.
so I
And
think
then
it's easier.
Monday has been good too, no?
It's been pretty good. I don't think we're there in terms of like using it to the best of its ability, but we're getting there.
I mean, yeah, so far I think we're on the first page level. There's much more
hmm
robust features later on that I don't see a need for. I actually looked into it yesterday because they took away my private board and
hmm
I was a little pissed. So I looked to see what it would cost and it's not worth. I don't actually think we would use. I'm not afraid to spend, but I also don't like to waste money if it's not going to be used. So
Yeah. I do like the commenting feature on it though, a lot.
yeah,
Like being able to comment and then the notifications for the comments.
yeah, I do, and you can tell who is paying attention and who's not,
hmm
more or less. I'm looking at the comments right now, so. I only see two people really replying. So that's good ammo for my next one-on-ones with everyone else. But so you like the one-on-ones or you're neutral?
I like them. It keeps you updated. Uh, Especially like when I did my board, I made sure to do it
Yeah, that
before
thing
the
was cool.
one-on-one so like I knew where everything was and
Is there a
where
way
we're
to
at with
put that
everything.
on the Monday or not really? Like to put some of that info on there. Like to make Monday more of that board
There's probably a way to make it simple and easy.
or
I just
Creo.
don't know that way yet.
Creo would watch and tell us that we can do it on the Creo.
Yeah, there's probably a way.
But nothing beats
And
the
like the
simplicity
details.
and the satisfaction of writing on a whiteboard.
Yeah. And being able to see it and then change it if needed really
Yeah,
easily.
and like
So,
low tech in the high tech, increasingly high tech world. Okay,
mhm,
so we were just talking about where how to scale the site. I've been telling you we're gonna start using what we're doing at you kind of as a model for the other sites we open, and
mhm,
eventually we will get private equity involved where we can like acquire a few sites here and there. But we got to make Yuma like YCT the model for where everyone else can just kind of copy what we do.
right.
And having he obviously like coordinators are local to the site. You can't really share unless they're like within driving distance the sites, but the coordinators you can't really share so much.
Mhm,
We might open a site in San Luis, Arizona. We've been talking about it forever, like since we opened. So that would be a place where we can share coordinators here and there, but ideally it's to scale the site capabilities as much as you can. And the things you can't really scale are coordinators, like you guys meeting with the patients in the office,
mhm,
going to get signatures from PIs. Those are not things you can automate, nor can AI ever really take over that stuff.
right.
I think coordinators' jobs are the safest, even with AI in the industry. I think, there's been a lot of jobs already outsourced from CROs, like those in-house CRAs that used to call us every week.
Mhm,
Those are all been moved to Latin America. I think the next step is for that to be a AI. I think that can relatively easily happen. I think even CRAs to some extent. I don't think they'll ever get rid of CRAs, but you won't have maybe a burnt out CRA anymore because they'll be using AI tools to help them with the little
mm,
stuff. But I think coordinators are the safest just because
yeah,
you cannot outsource that patient interaction and that touch point or the PI interaction or the monitor interaction. I don't think monitors want to talk to AI when they contact the
mhm,
site. They want to hear from you a lot. So we've been talking but there are sites are streamlining as sites are Scaling sites are having centralized roles, so centralized contract and budget. You guys don't really mess around with it. You probably get involved the most because you sign off on them. You enter some of the info in the contract. So just the stuff you've
Hmm.
been doing basics and
Yep,
like
makes sense
keeping
though.
us on
Yeah.
track. Like, no, you didn't get this one done yet. This one's done. You're essentially like a project manager.
Mm.
But everyone else doesn't have that experience at the site. So if
Right.
they ever go to a job interview, do you have experience controlling a budget? No, is the answer, which is like for the employer, me, if I have a scalable model that's not inclusive of the coordinators, not really my main priority, although I try to help you guys. I think it's more so than most site owners, just because I know that, I mean, I feel like I have responsibility for your career in a way because you're in research because of me.
Hmm.
But like people have to be careful when they're asking for centralized things because then the new wave, like the next thing is going to be centralized regulatory, all right? If we did that today and then we hire a coordinator next year, that coordinator is not only not going to have contract and budget experience, they're not going to have regulatory experience unless they specifically ask for it for some reason, which maybe we can have them do it. But it's not part of your day to day, right? And then same thing if it boils down to like patient recruitment. Let's say we have a centralized recruitment with some combination of patient ACE and some AIs or some admins. The coordinators don't really recruit. Like the patients just show up, they're already pre-screened.
Hmm.
So the more we automate, the less skills coordinators will develop, which again, I'm not Mother Teresa, so it's not necessarily my problem. But
Hmm.
I am like it's a good topic for a podcast, and I have
Right.
opinion on this. I don't think it's good for the individuals. I don't know
Hmm.
what you feel about it. You're not new in the industry anymore. You've been going on your third year now, so
Hmm.
you came in before all this stuff, so you got everything experienced with.
Yeah.
Um, but others, let's say the next Katie next year, she's not gonna see like maybe half of the things you did if this stuff continues to accelerate.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? From both
Mm.
perspectives, you currently and the future you that doesn't know research yet, hypothetically.
Well, I think the version I am now, it's definitely helped a lot to be able to know everything. And especially I didn't realize this from like a smaller site that we do like do everything. And then because I know you talk about like the bigger sites and stuff where they only have the regulatory, they only have the recruiter, they only have the scheduler. Like I think it's definitely a big benefit, especially because I don't think that we're gonna like research is progressing very quickly, but I still think we're transitioning from like paper to e-source and just like some smaller things here and there where like me knowing everything is gonna help tremendously versus someone who only knows regulatory.
Yeah. Or a AI coming in and like there's already a company that does this. I interviewed the CEO for an hour and a half,
Hmm.
and the only issue is it's costs just as much to hire a person right now. So it makes no
Right.
sense. I'm still team human, but
Hmm.
team AI, it's more efficient. Team AI gets things done. I worry about the future of the coordinators unless there's always small sites to make up for it, but then it's not at scale either. Like more sites are becoming part of site networks, even us. I mean, we're still small, but as soon as we get like three or four more sites, all these things start centralizing. So it's
Hmm.
only the OGs that remember and have the skills if they utilize them for
Right.
the other stuff, which, I mean, maybe it means nothing in a world going forward, but maybe it does mean something still at a job interview when they ask, like, do you have regulatory experience or do you have like patient recruitment experience? And you say
Hmm.
no, because if you interview a bunch of these coordinators now at these big site networks, they know what that stuff is, but they don't actually do it. If they ask them a scenario question, they're gonna have to make up an answer.
Right.
Unless they're OGs, like they remember life before centralized stuff, which is not that long
Yeah.
ago.
Mm.
Time keeps on ticking. So 2 more years from now, you have a new
Mhm.
wave. I don't know. I make a lot of predictions on the show, and this is something interesting that no one's talking about.
Right.
What do you think career seekers should do then? Just go with the flow?
I mean, I guess they get what they're given. Um, if they choose to work at a bigger site and only learning the one or two things, if that's how they want to progress in their career, um, and that works for them. But I think it's still good to like be able to do everything 'cause they'll still be able to progress further, being able to do everything.
Yeah. Or at least be the one checking that the AIs are doing their job in regulatory, which you're
Hmm.
not going to give that to someone who doesn't know what. I mean, if someone has no experience and you tell them check that this AI didn't make a mistake, you're not going to know because you never did it. You're going to need someone like Katie who actually knows to check an AI.
Right. But that also, now I'm thinking about it, would they not have coordinators in? Would they have like tech people come in pretty much to deal with all the AI if they do
Yeah.
transition all the
If the tech
AI?
people are like specialized in regulatory, like they actually know how 1572 should be filled out, or if they know how to answer those IRB questionnaires, like you'll either have to teach those tech people or you'll have someone at each site, or maybe a few people in charge of that, which can be the lead CRC. Or, I mean, if you're big enough, you can have like a department just for that, where people are hyper specialized. You go to most sites
Hmm.
now, actually, that are bigger. And people are just doing like there's people that only do regulatory. They've never been with a patient. They don't know how that is. You know, you guys are doing everything. You're generalists. But
Hmm.
look, even us, these tools, Patient ACE, recruitment, we're all still doing it, but like we're maybe 6 months away from not needing to do that anymore. And it's more efficient for the site to not have everyone doing everything. But it's worse for the employee long term. It might be better in the short term. Your job is more, I guess, repetitive. But some people like the chaos. So I don't know. It just depends.
I don't know. Still, with like recruiting, though, we do use AI, but also at the same time, we're still needing to pre-screen each
You
subject
now,
that comes in.
now, but imagine we had a centralized admin department with like three admins and they're
Hmm.
pre-screening for all the sites we have. And then they just put it in Creo when they think it's pre-screened properly.
Right.
See? It's sites are always
Yeah.
asking, and the people are coordinators are always asking, I wish I had this,
I.
I wish I had that. And then the industry creates it, and it's literally creating less responsibility for the coordinator, who I still think is the safest role in the industry by far.
Hmm.
But still,
Yeah. I don't know. Just because even if even with it being centralized, does that mean you're hiring more people than you need to then at that point? Because you need each like individual thing, one person on
yeah,
each individual thing or a couple.
you might have
Wouldn't.
fractional. It makes more sense when you have more sites. So, like, if we had a Yuma, if we had San Luis, if we had Orange County, and if we had, let's say, somewhere south of Tucson, if we had those four
Hmm.
sites, it makes sense because maybe Yuma doesn't have like a startup study right now, but somewhere else does,
Right.
or maintenance. Like, it makes more sense. And even when the workflow reduces, you can just have that person be a fractional worker. That's gonna be a new thing going forward too, is fractional work.
And
That's
what
next
would that
decade.
what
Fractional budget, fractional QA. You don't hire me full time, but when you need me, I'll do it. Like
kind of like
kind of the
contract
gig,
work?
kind of like contract work or like the gig economy. I think the big sites will need full-time people, but I think the smaller
Hmm.
ones may have fractional work.
Right.
And that's where coordinators can get side gigs and stuff, but you ain't getting no side gigs if you've never done it before.
Hmm.
And so those are things I worry about when I probably shouldn't worry about it, but having a podcast makes you worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Well, that's it. So you feel bullish about the industry, or you feel like AI is gonna take over, and what's your take on this? I never actually asked you.
With just like the AI stuff,
Yeah, do you think they're coming for everyone's jobs? Mine included.
I think AI is gonna. is a super helpful tool, but I still think we need actual people, like at least going over the work, doing some of the work, because I feel like the population is split on like gun-ho AI versus I would still want to talk to a person type of deal.
Yeah. Well,
So,
here's something will blow your mind, and
hmm,
they're already working on it. It's called in silico trials. I don't think in
hmm,
my lifetime, maybe in yours, maybe at the end of my lifetime, that you will have patient-less trials. Like patients will just they'll donate their digital twin
hmm,
and it's gonna have everything in their body at that time, and they'll just run simulations on them and they'll pay them with crypto for their time, like for
yeah,
renting their digital twin.
I remember you telling me about that a little bit ago.
Ah, I did tell you about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's happening. I mean, it's 100% happening. The question is it in my lifetime or not? I think it's towards the end if I live long enough.
yeah,
And for you too, but you might be retired by then or doing something else.
I don't know.
Who knows?
We'll
So
see.
you're not worried. You're not in the camp where you're concerned.
No, I don't think I'm concerned, especially with sites wanting people on site. I'm not too
Yeah.
worried.
Yeah, I'm not too worried yet either. And I think we have 10 years to like really do well as sites, as coordinators until
Hmm.
like tech really starts
Calming
taking
down.
over little by little.
Yeah,
And then who knows what's going to happen after. I think we got a good 10 years. I think it's
yeah.
safe. All right, that's it. Anything else?
No,
Lead
that's
CRC,
it.
when is your 3rd year anniversary?
June 14th, I
Wow,
believe.
that's coming up. 3 years. So you're basically a month away, a few weeks away from a 3-year anniversary. Wow, employee number two and
Hmm.
still here. Not bad.
Not bad.
We haven't grown that much, like that crazy, but you've seen basically the entire growth of the
Yeah.
site. What do you think about that? Like, was
I
it
think we
more than you thought, less than you thought, about the same?
um we've grown more than I thought we would in the past. Like I feel like each year we've grown more and more, and I think we're only getting bigger, especially with all the studies we're getting. But we'll see where we're at in the next year, I suppose.
Yeah, I
Because
think one or two more sites or one or two extra sites in addition to ours.
in Yuma?
No, one in San Luis, one in Orange County.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I think that's almost inevitable,
yeah.
but yeah. All right, cool. Well, everybody go connect with Katie. She doesn't post that often on LinkedIn, but when
Yeah.
she
Hmm.
does, it goes viral. So she goes in there every quarter, makes a post, gets out, doesn't read any of your comments, and then does it again in three
That
months.
is not true. I respond to almost every single comment I get.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I do too. I respond to your comments and then I send people books. I actually have 3 people to send books for still.
Still,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I've been behind. All right, cool.
Oh.
Well, follow Katie. And
Mhm.
stay tuned for our next post. It'll go viral. Bye bye.
Bye.